Hey, welcome back to Save Your Bacon, a advice comedy podcast where we think we're helping. My name is Will.
And my name is Zane. And just to show you how much we care, we have paper master degrees taped loosely to our walls. They are therapy paper master degrees. And they tell you how self-sufficient and professional the two of us are.
And cut. All right, so we're gonna... Zane, I'm just going to have you run through that one more time.
All right.
We did hear pamper master degree. Just go ahead and do that again.
Hello, my name is Zane Chainsaw, and boy, do I have the best pampers
and
sale.
cut. Sorry that time I had to cut you off. I just wanted to...
Is it because I went off script?
You went off script.
All right.
That was the reason.
Stick
Try it again.
To script.
And go.
Do I slate my name first?
You can say exactly what I wrote.
All right. Hi, I'm Zane Shaw. I'm an Emerson film major, and I'm reading for the part of Zane.
The first words here are, and my name is Zane, and I want you to do it in a fun and quirky way so that people know we're more interesting than we are outside of this podcast.
All right.
Those are the first. Do you see the line I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna highlight it on our Google Doc.
Below the place that says Will, right?
Below the will.
All right. Below my will. I got it.
Stop it. And action. That's the word.
Hey, this is Millhouse.
Oh, hey, it's Zane here.
This is Millhouse, and everything's coming up Millhouse.
Oh my goodness.
So you can tell
action.
We're very self-sufficient. Oh, and we're going? All right.
Yes, I will give you your question. The people have spoken. The question is here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mac Daddy asks, I got accused by my friends of not being a meat lover because I said no to Meat Lover's Pizza. How can I prove them wrong?
The point of a Meat Lover's Pizza...
You're not a lover.
...is for
if
people
you don't
who
get
are lovers of meat.
I love meat. I hate Meat Lover's Pizza. I relate to this question. That's why I took it.
How? You can't hate being a lover.
It's too much. No, it's genuinely too much. It's a garbage idea to be like, oh, we heard you like meat. Let's give you 7 of them. It doesn't make sense. It's like,
the real
hey,
question.
I heard once your aunt told me that you enjoyed pork loin, so I put pork and sausage and bacon, and I just kind of stewed it up in its fat, and I put it in a big tub. And I want you to get in it because you love pork.
I want you to swim.
That is what this is. That's what Meat Lover's
Pizza. The real question is, and I know I've already mentioned this before, and this is a very important question to me. The reason that I mentioned that liking Meat Lover's Pizza, not from anywhere else, but DiGiorno knows how to do.
Goodness gracious, Zane.
This
cannot be DiGiorno episode 2. Welcome to
this time it's
welcome
personal.
To our bit where we just talk about DiGiorno. It got personal this time. Meat Lover's Pizza for DiGiorno is better than the others. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that
would make freaking sense because you just like DiGiorno more than every other pizza.
No, because
Zane.
they just do like 2 or 3 meats. That's it.
What meats do they do?
They think pepperoni, sausage, and that's it.
It can't. That's not Meat Lovers.
That's what they call
pepperoni and sausage is not Meat Lovers. That's pepperoni and sausage.
There's a difference between meat lovers and like meat fetishes.
You're correct.
If you like meat,
that is the idea. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
If you like meat, you put pepperoni on there. If you love meat, you add another meat. If you really just want to fuck meat, you put you put everything on there.
You get every meat that a human has been able to slaughter throughout the time of man. And you throw it on one ding-dang pizza.
On top of some nice bread crust and cheesy cheese topping.
Would you like the Meat Lovers? Oh, what comes on that? Quail, alligator, toad leg. Oh my gosh. No, it is ridiculous. And I understand, like, people are like, hey, you want the Meat Lovers? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. And they're like, oh, I thought you liked meat.
Well, if they say that, yeah, like meat. As a friend.
That's it. I like it as a friend.
I'm not
meat
down
as
to
a friend
clown
of
with
mine.
some meat.
Sometimes I sweat after I get done with an interaction with meat. I don't really like it as much as the next guy though. I really do like meat. I went on a full diet. Zane, did you know this? When I first lost a bunch of weight when I moved to Winona, all I pretty much ate was meat.
Really?
And man, did I sweat. All I ate was meat and cheese and eggs and vegetables, and that was it. It was great and all. I mean,
so
I'm not saying everybody should do that.
Breakfast.
I would wake up and I would have eggs, and sometimes I would put bacon in those eggs. And then for lunch I'd have like chicken, and then for lunch I'd have like ground beef. And like that was like my day, and it was disgusting. It was revolting. Like those poops were unhealthy. But like at this point, I would be pretty secure going vegetarian just off the fact that even years ago, like years later, I am bothered by how much meat I ate back then.
Absolutely. I think
It is a friend. It is a friend. It is not more than that.
Yeah, I mention it all the time. I think chicken wings or like Buffalo Wild Wings is like the only reason I wouldn't go vegetarian.
Really? Like wings are definitely the thing I would miss the most. That and burgers. But it's just like a burger is not 10 pounds of meat. It is the inside as meat. When I get Meat Lover's Pizza, I'm going to pick it up, and if I put it back down, my hand is now oil. My hand has been transferred into oil. It is the fat of carcasses of like 6 different animals all conglomerated onto my hand by how disgusting that pizza becomes. Come at me, pizza lovers. All right, next question. Your turn.
All right, you got it. This question was sent in by a friend. It's a user named Pajama Sam. And the question is, why are old buildings so torn up? What are they so torn up about? Is the little piece they gave me is there any way I can repair the damage that has been done to these buildings?
That's a thinker. What are they all torn up about?
Yeah, when you walk past an old building and you see that it's missing roofs or the doors coming off and whatnot, you really think, what's got you all torn up?
You know, yesterday I was driving home. I visited some friends like an hour and a half away, and we were driving back, and there's a lot of farmland we drove through. And I saw, once again, in a time of my life, a barn that was just so torn up that the whole top just came right down. And we've gotten a lot of snow here, but it's just like, that just goes to show you how much pressure there is on farms, you know?
How much pressure there is on buildings. They got so much pressure on them.
Yeah,
That's like,
I mean,
of
generally
course,
speaking.
Of course they're going to get torn up sometimes with that much pressure on them.
And sometimes they just collapse under the weight of the pressure.
So many people rely on the buildings, and that just obviously that adds pressure, especially when the people get inside their heads. That adds a lot of pressure.
And there's this whole idea also of like once a building, you know, gets past its efficiency and once it's too old to function, they just get rid of the whole thing and blow the thing up.
They literally blow it up. They don't even ask it if it wants to retire off to Building City.
There's never a thought of who the building is and what it wants out of life.
Yeah.
People don't talk about this stuff enough.
There are some buildings that have like 20 stories to tell, and and there are the people go inside, they go through all these stories, but really all that it is this building's now carrying the weight of everybody else on its back. And
so many stories to tell, and people just use it to get from one place to another, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they're just using and going through the buildings without really thinking about what the building is and what it's gone through.
Yeah, nobody respects a building. They all just use it constantly,
Maybe
day in and day
just
out.
want somebody to listen to.
Can I just mention how messed up now it is to think that when people want to, they just blow the building up?
Yeah, now it seems very immoral to tear down a building.
Yeah, now it's
when you tear down a building and build like an Arby's on top of it.
Because it's not because the building's done or the building is dead. It's because they don't want the building anymore.
Yeah, and you're building on its dang gravestone.
Yeah, you're taking a living, breathing, architectural piece of building and you're
okay. Ready? Imagine this: I die on a bed. And then a mom just hops on the bed where my dead carcass is and gives birth. And then leaves the baby there. No, you gotta this is the cradle in which you will live. This is your home.
You missed a very crucial piece. You die on a bed. Someone puts a stick of dynamite in your mouth and blows you up.
Then throws dirt on top of you.
Then a
baby
is
born on that dirt.
And then everybody in town relies on that baby.
So when you ask us, what's tearing up these buildings? And what's really going on? Think twice.
Buildings hold so many more stories than you could ever imagine. And sure, you can visit all those stories if you want, but you're not gonna. You don't care about what's on the inside.
You don't care.
Unless you love what's on the inside, but you only care about it for yourself.
Checkmate, liberals. All right, let's move on. This question comes from Annie Wagner, and she asks, I've made a huge mistake. That's not a question, Annie. When I was in high school, a friend asked me, "Hey, Annie, would you like the rest of these blueberries?" And I accidentally said yes. My life has never been the same. You see, I actually hate blueberries, but I feel like I have to keep up this image of enjoying blueberries. Ever since then, I have suffered through eating countless blueberries. But enough is enough. How do I come clean about not liking blueberries to all my friends who believe that I love blueberries? How do I deal with the repercussions of betraying their trust? Well, I'll tell you what. A good way to do it is on a public podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
That's.
I think you've got to work your way around this, because nobody likes a person that comes out after years and says, "My life's been a ruse. My name is not Annie. It's Jamal, and I don't like blueberries. I like strawberries." And just that's gonna take everybody by storm, knowing that all of a sudden now you're Jamal, the girl who doesn't like blueberries but enjoys a good strawberry. So what you've got to do is you really got to work your way around it to finding how you can make it look like you've lured yourself out of the blueberry friendship. Like, have you ever seen Hunger Games?
I've seen the Hunger Games.
Yeah, at the end of Hunger Games, they're gonna eat these poison blueberries and they're gonna die for a good cause. Now, you could just start convincing people that you become like a heavy activist in some kind of something that you want people to be aware of.
Do you know what they do to those blueberries?
And you just start
poisoning. Do you know how they treat those blueberries? I can't stand eating them any longer.
I was gonna say,
mistreatment of blueberries is tearing this country apart.
You could, yeah.
You ask us what buildings are being torn up about. It's the mistreatment of blueberries, Roger. Thank you for asking.
I was going to go with, you could keep poisoning blueberries and people would have to keep slapping them out of your hands so you didn't poison yourself. But now, I like this path that we're on of, you could be the first person that's like the vegetarian of blueberries. You could be like the first person that convinces the world that blueberries is the new meat that everybody needs to avoid.
It up. You're giving it up to God.
Yeah, you're just like, you know, like millions of blueberries suffer every year, and it's because we just pick them right off the bushes from their homes.
We're really making a lot of non-living things into living things today, aren't we?
I think that's just because we're opening our eyes, Will.
We're finally getting it. Get woke. Wake up, sheeple. Yeah, I like that. Also, I just as a side note, I love the mental thought of continually after that one time, because you were given the choice. You messed up real good. You goofed so hard when that person was like, "You love blueberries, Annie," and you're like, "Yes," and you did it. And you could have said no, but you said yes. And then every single other time you've lied to yourself and you've had this internal struggle inside when people are like, "Hey, there's blueberry girl. Here you go. Merry Christmas. Thank you, grandmother." And it's like 6 pounds of blueberries. And you're like, "I am the blueberry lover." And that's it. And I can't imagine the turmoil you've gone through.
Yeah, did you know? Actually, the reason I knew about this, because people call her blueberry lover all the time. Papa John's actually got a hold of the nickname and just for her made a blueberry lover's pizza. And
it's not dessert pizza, weirdly enough, too. It's like marinara sauce.
It is legitimately a meat lover's pizza, but also blueberries.
And yeah, they make a meat lover's pizza, and then after it comes out, they just sprinkle like 18 raw blueberries over the top.
Yep.
And it's deceiving because they say it's blueberry lovers, and there's like 6 pounds of meat on that bad boy. You don't even know what half of those meats are, but every once in a while, two bites per slice, you'll get one raw blueberry thrown in there. Yeah. It's to offset the grease.
For like half a second, you'll think you're eating a pancake, and you'll be like, "Oh, thank God, the meat lover's torment is over," and then you'll realize you're still in it. Maybe.
Okay, Zane, have you had a pancake with bacon in it?
Yeah.
Have you had a pancake with blueberries in it?
I did this morning.
What's up with that, huh? Why can you do that? Why can you get away with that? Because if I said I'm having bacon blueberry pizza, I would be looked at like a madman. Like I just broke out of prison. But like if I have a blueberry pancake and then a bacon pancake next to it, People are like, that's a good breakfast.
I mean, I guess it's the fact that the putting cheese on it is just like a whole different
Is it the
situation.
cheese?
It's gotta be, right?
Cheese.
It can't be the sauce. The sauce is just pick your poison. That's whatever you want.
Your sauce of choice is one is sugary maple and the other one is
marinara.
Tomatoes. Yes, I think that it might be the sauce because even if you were to put some sort of cheese on your pancakes, which now we're really getting into some messed up stuff. Like, what?
Let's look at it this way. Let's take the other two ingredients, bread and sauce.
It's sauce.
And now let's put that in the form of pasta. Now you're eating pasta that's got marinara sauce on it and bacon and blueberries. Now is that weird?
No, that's still bad. It's because maple syrup is pancake sauce. Marinara is pizza sauce.
Yes.
Are we on the same page here?
Yes.
That is what makes it gross. You can have bacon with your marinara, and you can have... Frick, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. It's the sauce. That's the difference.
Long story short, Annie, if you want to stop eating blueberries, just take a culmination. Just take notes on everything we just said and start. Just have a week, just a hell week where you know it's not going to be fun of just eating blueberry pizzas, blueberry pasta, blueberry bacon, whatever. And then just keep throwing that. And then people think that you've got such an obsession that they'll throw an intervention for you and say, this blueberries fetish got to stop, Annie. This has gone too far. And you'll say, you gotta play it off a little bit. You got to say,
it's going to for a while.
It's going to be a little tough, but I think with you guys' help, we can get through this. Don't just be like, oh, sweet. People are going to be like, well, wait a minute. What's going on? You trying to scheme us here or something? No, you don't want people to be on all of a sudden on guard. You got to let them ease into this. And then after like a week or so, bada boom, you're out of it. And people think that you not only don't like blueberries, you can't have them. People will be like, hey, Annie, you want blueberries? Other people will be like...
And then you show them your, like, Blueberries Anonymous token that you got after 4 weeks.
Yeah, you show them the token, and you'll have friends that'll be like, whoa, step up. She just got off that stuff.
She's clean, man. Get off. Yeah, I think along the same vein... You can show up to a friend group and be like, Annie, blueberries, and you're like, dude, I can't. And they're like, what do you mean? You love blueberries? And you say, yeah, but I OD'd on blueberries last week. You haven't seen me in 4 days, right? And you're like, yeah, where have you been? I'm like, I freaking OD'd on blueberries, and since I stopped, you know how I suck? And they're like, yeah, I stopped sucking. It's just gone. I'm better now. It's new me, baby. And they're like, wow. And they throw out the blueberries.
Hey, do you want another question?
I do. Why don't you give this to me?
I will give you this question.
You are free to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube if you didn't know about any of these already. Did you know that? This isn't a question. This is just Will speaking to you. So you can stop pretending like I'm all these people who've been asking questions, and you can just listen to me one-on-one, because this is Will speaking to you right now. This is my own question. Did you know that you can check us out on a lot of different places, and you can interact with us in those places? You can also check us out on different social medias. Zane's going to tell you about that. So you can send us some questions, and so we don't have to have times where Zane is just asking a bunch of questions because I don't have enough to make a full episode. I mean, we got great ones today, but we need that kept up. So go ahead, Zane. Jeez, you idiot.
Just keep sending in those random questions. I love
keep doing it. My goodness.
There's a question that we got today that I pray to God we put in the show. That there's so many questions that we keep getting that the more random they are, the better. And if we can give advice, perfect. And you can send those questions to saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com. That is saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com. Save your bacon for your pancakes, everybody, and send us your questions. You can also hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, DMs. We have both of the same username. It's Zane and Will. You can also send out #SaveYourBacon or #ZaneAndWill. That way we can find you quicker, easier through those. Obviously, email is the easiest. But just keep sending us your questions because the entire show revolves around you guys. Sure, we can find nonchalant, questions around the world, around the internet, but the fun comes from the fact that you guys want to interact with this. And then you can hear the podcast, and you can hear your question. You'd be like, that's me. They just called me out, and this next 5 minutes, all about me, baby. And then you can show your friends and be like, what up? I was on this awesome famous podcast and they talked about me for like 6-7 straight minutes. and you can share that with your friends. They'll be like, I want to do that too. And then all of a sudden you got your friends sending in questions. And then if nobody else is sending in questions, you guys keep sending in questions. You just get to keep being famous over and over and over again. That's pretty rad. And then when you get more friends in, it becomes a whole thing. It's just like Sunday night, you're like, yeah, this questions night. We're going to send in questions. This questions night. So just keep being a part of it, gosh dang it, because I love when you do that. Speaking of, do you want a question?
Yes.
All right, cool. This question comes from username Patched Hammies. And the question is, why does it feel like our bodies aren't built to be able to yawn, even though they consistently do yawn? A little context. It says, my problem is simple. When I yawn, I feel like my mouth doesn't realize what's happening and gets scared and tries running away from my face. Is there any way I can get my mouth and yawns to get along so we can be friends again and live a happy life?
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel like I'm breaking every time I yawn. And Zane, do you remember when we were both in choir? Zane and I were both in choir in high school together.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways that we met, if not the only. But we were. Do you remember? Were you told in high school? I can't remember if it was high school or college that my teacher was like, you are not allowed to yawn on stage. We know you're going to be tired. You're going to have to learn how to destroy the yawn. Basically, the thought that got put in my mind as so, like, when you are on stage, when you are supposed to be at your best, you destroy the yawn with everything that is within you. And I would literally practice stopping my yawns because we would get points off from our classes in college if we were yawning during practice. And so, like, I totally get this idea of, like, it is a destructive force, and our bodies are not meant to yawn. I feel like I am breaking every time I yawn, and I feel like a big slob in sweats all day long whenever I yawn.
Whenever I yawn, I literally feel like my mouth can't become big enough. Like it... Like,
really?
My mouth...
Like, it just needs to unhinge. It's us wanting to be snakes.
It's...
Every time I yawn, it's my body telling me to be a snake.
Don't you feel that though? When you yawn, it's just like you yawn and then it gets to a max point where you're just like, I can't open anymore, and then it feels like the yawn is your body screaming like, open more yawned. And then
can you talk about yawning and then you start yawning? Yawning's a weird thing, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yawning is it's a weird thing because it's also one of those things of if you watch someone else yawn, then you yawn, and it's like I think legitimately it's an air parasite that just keeps traveling back and forth through visuals, and then
I think it's a mundane version of the Black Plague that never left humankind.
Yeah, I think it's what we call the light plague.
The Beige Plague.
The Beige Plague. You ever had the Beige Plague? What's that? It's when you yawn. It's
not. Ever had that happen? Weird, right? Anybody Beige Plague?
If you yawn once, you got rid of it. If you yawn twice, oh no, you got to find somebody.
You've recontracted. How do you get rid of the plague?
You have to send it off to someone else. And that's why we yawn when we see someone else yawn. You have to hand it off.
If you're the last person to yawn in the room, have you killed the strand? Or have you just passed it to another place on Earth?
If you're the last person to yawn in the room, then I'm sorry, but you're going to have this lingering effect for the rest of your life where sometimes when your eyes ache a little bit and maybe you didn't
I've now yawned twice
maybe,
in this question. I kid you not.
Will, I'm really sorry to mention that I don't know how much longer you have left to live on this Earth, but you were a good friend, and I'm sorry that you caught the Beige Plague.
You're a good friend. You're not as bad as you think you are, Will. I never said I was bad.
Can I just say how good that is? That idea of instead of saying you're a good friend, saying you're not as bad a friend as you thought you were. I like that. Are we friends? Yeah, no, you're a great friend. Or yeah, you're totally not as bad a friend as you thought you were. Just like
okay, the reason I say that is because friends of mine, like here at least, know that one thing about me is that I'm very harsh on myself. And so, like, I think it would literally make sense if instead of friends saying, like, hey, you're a great person, they literally say, you're not as bad as you think you are. And, like, that being a true compliment towards me because that means a lot.
But, so the question's really wanting to get at, although it feels like...
Yeah, welcome back.
When you yawn, it feels like your mouth is trying to leave your face. That you want to reconnect with your yawns and have your mouth and yawns become friends so that you can live a happy life. And
How do we begin the holistic yawn? What is a holistic yawn?
I think you need to embrace what the yawn is, and you need your entire body to have its own
to emulate what your mouth is doing.
Yeah,
to
like,
show that you understand, you're empathizing.
like, you know what a starfish looks like when it's stuck to the side of something?
Like a starfish.
Yeah. Like you
Like
need,
the exact way you picture a starfish.
you need to if you were to lunge forward and let all of your limbs and your head fly back, like you were like releasing an almighty superpower.
Yeah.
That's how you connect with your yawn. You've got to just let it just rip through your veins.
Yeah, you're letting out a
second.
hyper beam every time you yawn.
Because then, you know what? Even if you yawn again, your yawn's gonna respect you because of what you've done, because of what you've shown. It's
Heck yeah.
you just bowed to your yawns.
I respect you. My whole body respects you. I respect you more than I respect my social inclinations to be a normal person.
And that's exactly what you say after you yawn. As soon as you yawn, you got to really quickly, like the bless you, you've got to say, I respect you. I respect you.
I respect you more than my social standing as a regular human being. And as you're just like starfishing across like the sidewalk. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta stay in that position. You're just running in that and just yelling, I respect you.
I respect you. I respect you, young.
And if anybody comes up and interrupts you, they immediately catch the Beige Plague.
Yeah. And if people don't respect you back, and yeah, no, I get that.
Then it becomes the Black Plague.
Then it becomes the Black Plague. Thankfully, nobody's done that again. Somebody's only done that once that we know of. I respect you more than my social standing as a regular human being. All right, this question comes from username Nate. Nate asks, this is an advice question, so I apologize for that, but I think it's interesting. If someone were to be falsely accused of murder, should they get a free murder upon release? Asking for a friend.
So you've gone to jail.
You've gone to jail.
For a murder that you didn't do.
You didn't do the murder.
Should you now be allowed to have a free murder because you've done the time for
you did the time.
Equivalent of one murder?
Zane, I went to the store.
Yeah.
I was going to buy myself grapes.
All
and
right.
I didn't buy grapes.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I walked out the door, somebody came up and they said, you need to pay for those grapes. And I said, I didn't take the grapes.
Right.
Lay off. And they're like, you did take the grapes. And you turn around and in your back pocket is a full 3-pound bag of grapes. And they said, you need to pay for that. And they take away the grapes and they make you pay.
Okay.
Should you have those grapes?
You should be allowed to.
Do you deserve, if you paid for the grapes,
you deserve the grapes.
do you deserve the grapes?
If you paid for the murder, you deserve the murder.
You deserve the murder. That's what I'm saying.
I do also like the constellation. If you're somebody who really, really want, like, if they're pushing it on you, like, no, you did the time for the murder, now you have to go do a murder. Like,
you who is it gonna be, huh?
It's not even a question now. They're not like, you can. It's, no, we did this. This is our bad. Now you have to commit a murder. Otherwise,
we will all feel bad if you do not kill.
Yeah, otherwise,
please kill.
We're not going to be able to sleep at night. So find somebody. There are plenty of neighborhoods. But I like that if you really, really can't do it, as a consolation, they now give you the bag of grapes that you once couldn't have.
The nice thing is you wanted the grape. If you got accused of murder, you didn't want the murder, though. Probably not. I mean, if you really wanted the murder, you would have just done the murder, right?
You falsely get accused of murder, and you've done the time for the murder. But then they know you're not the murderer because they found the real murderer. Do you now freely get to kill that murderer?
Well, is that payment for the murder? If that's payment for the murder, then yes. But I think that you are the one who gets to swing the gavel as the court person and just say jail. And then they go to the jail as long as you went to jail. Here's another
question. How many times is too many times to say, oh, that's my bad? Like, if you have gone, let's say there's a very, very popular, important rule in filmmaking, which is do before you ask, which, like, you can, if you get the shot and then they're like, hey, you can't film in here, you can say, oh, my bad, because you've already got the shot. Now you don't have to film in there. As opposed to if you ask, can we film here? Is that really
what they tell you?
I do it. Yeah, I do it all the time. If you go into a library and you say, hey, can I film here? And they say no, Now, if you film there, well, now you're just breaking a rule that they gave you, as opposed to if it was like oh, my bad, I didn't know I couldn't film here.
Okay, so they don't tell you deserve the murder.
Yes,
but after you get out, you go and kill, and that's your argument
yes,
for
and
why
then,
you deserve it.
And then when they're like, hey, now you're going to go away for murder, and you say, oh, my bad, I thought because I did the time for murder that I didn't do, I got a free one. And then...
Yeah, you go up on the stand, and they're like, why did you kill? And then you say, if I went to the store... And I really wanted grapes.
You give the grape. You give the grape argument.
You give the grape analogy. You're welcome. We just set you up with the perfect analogy in order to get away with your newfound murder.
The thing that I was gonna ask though is after that, after you get away with that, the jury lets you free off the hook because they understand where you're coming from.
They get it.
Just like 5 hours later, you commit a second murder.
No.
Now they bring you back to the jury, and then they're like, "Why'd you do a second one?" You said. To be fair, I was in jail a long time, and I don't know how long I would have gone away for having murdered the first guy. And so I thought I would balance it out by murdering a second guy, and then the time for murdering both of those people be equivalent to how much time I was in that jail.
Because, man, it was bad.
Then you could
say, it was bad.
Yeah.
I deserved to.
Yeah.
And you already let me off for one. If okay, you get accused falsely of murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go to jail.
Yeah.
You die in jail.
Oh, okay.
You die in jail. Do your kids get to kill?
Yes. They get free murder until the person they murder is dead. Or they get...
What? Until the person they murder is dead.
Yes.
I murdered him. Are they dead?
Double check this, please. You got to keep this in mind. There was a girl in Edinburgh back in the time that do you remember the good old time when if a girl cheated on her husband, no matter how bad the husband was, they would get hanged for it. This was a thing. So she was going to get hanged for not wanting to be with her husband. She gets hanged, and then she dies. They check her pulse. She's dead. She's in the back of the carriage. And then she wakes up in the back of the carriage. And it freaks the people out, and they're like, you were dead. So... what do we do now? They were like, well, we already signed the death certificate. So
she did pay. She paid for death.
You're legally not married to that guy anymore. Oh. So you're allowed to just go live your own life now.
No way. Did they actually do that?
Yeah. And then she lived for like she remarried and lived another like 40 years.
Now, hold on.
This is a real thing.
Was it just like a good Samaritan in the car, or was like everybody like stop the car, get the people out, and the husband's like, "Yo, that's legit," and then they just let her remarry?
This is back in old like carriage times. This isn't like they were on the way to her funeral. They hung her because she didn't want to be with her husband. There's no way the husband was like, it's so sad to see her go. You hung her because she was just like, I don't think you're a good person. That's it.
True. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's interesting.
But yeah, the reason I mentioned that is, that's why I said murder them until they're dead. Make sure they're dead. Otherwise, they're going to go off and live their own life. And that's going to be a different, weird
murder
scenario.
Them until they're dead.
Yeah. All right, I got a question for you. This question comes from Reddit user Cooling. And the question is, what does a haircut of a I want to see your manager look like?
I mean, do we know the answer of this? Or is this just our responsibility to respond how to explain that via audio format?
We have to give advice of like, so this person obviously they want to see someone's manager, but we have to give them the advice of the proper hairstyle of what they're gonna have to look like in order to see this manager. And I think a very key factor here is what kind of manager? Like a music manager, like a GameStop manager. It's just like the manager of Wall Street. Like, these are why the hairstyles are important.
Okay.
I think you need to like have a very, very big, like, your hair needs to look.
You need something broad.
Yeah.
And by broad, I just mean wide, so that we're catching as many managers as we can as we walk down the street.
And when he says that, he doesn't mean just like a wide range of hairstyles so you can catch as many managers that come across. It's like your hair literally needs to be the width of like the street so that you can physically catch as many managers as you can as they walk down. You need to be a Venus flytrap for managers, where if they touch you, your hair closes in so that you can capture the managers. Your hair is a spider web that literally captures managers that you can then waltz over to and discuss your business with. There will be downside to this hairstyle.
This is a rich metaphor.
Where you will catch all those managers, but you will catch everybody else that you pass as well. And then you got
You're gonna need gangly arms. You're gonna need to grab them and toss them behind you as you make your way down the road. Living situations will be difficult. You might become an ocean dweller. Are there any other possibilities, any other directions we could go with this in order to... Are there just silent, metaphorical social cues that we could leave and imprint upon others by the way that we cut our hair?
Okay, yeah, of course. The point of the first hairstyle is literally the attention grabber.
No, I freaking get it, dude.
Yeah, it's like it's when you want to see the manager because you want to show off, like you want to make a name for yourself. But if you want to see a manager because of like poor business or something like that, then you need a hairstyle that. And I don't want to go simple here. I feel like going like horns is very, very simple for a hairstyle.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking you need.
What screams bring it to a higher authority? I mean, if we're talking at a haircut shop, just have a bad haircut.
Yeah, that's another thing. If you want to talk to the haircut manager because you had a bad haircut, that's a really easy one.
Have a bad haircut. There's your plan. But otherwise, I think it's just something that instills fear upon others, so that their automatic response is, I need a higher authority. Clearly.
I have two pictures in my head. One is a hairstyle that is just many exclamation marks.
Ooh.
To let
this
people
is
know,
important. This is an issue, clearly. I need to bring someone else into this situation. Many exclamation marks in a circle like a sun. Yeah. It is the rays of the sun around your head.
Then this is the other one, and it's very important. Is if you want to talk to the manager because you're annoyed at how people treat you because your hairstyle is now a speech bubble that goes off adjacent to like the left side of your head that within it says he was dead the whole time, and it gives away Sixth Sense. Just like your hairstyle keeps shouting the ending of Sixth Sense at everybody.
Yeah.
And now that sucks.
They were always ghosts. Yeah, and that's all it says on the side. Kind of Bayonetta style, just kind of weaving your hair around you everywhere you go. Yeah, I like that. It just gives some sort of spoiler that upsets the employee that just makes them realize they need to, once again, just bring it to a higher authority.
Yeah, exactly. But let's say now, what's another reason that you would talk to a manager? Not because you're angry with service, not because you really want to grab their attention. What's the other reason you're going to talk to a manager? Big one.
You have a speech bubble that says there's nothing under this coat. Oh no, I need a manager.
The other big thing that I can think of is if you want to give your compliments to the chef. Like, that's what you want to talk to the manager.
Yes,
so,
bring me the manager.
Not attention, not
good.
angry, super happy. So I think you need a hairstyle that is just a big pair of lips.
Ooh.
So you can get...
Kiss the chef. Yes, I love this. Just a big old sign of affection. I like just like a big emoji with heart eyes. I think that's endearing.
Yeah,
I think that sends it's hip.
I think you need
up with the times, and it's affectionate.
I think you need a full hairstyle that is just a perfect bust of Brooke Shields' face.
No, that's affectionate as well. Yeah, that sends the message that's clear and concise. Once again, just another Bayonetta size like beehive sort of bust atop your skull. Just one head atop another. That'll get their attention. I'll tell you what. You're gonna have a manager in no time. Yeah. All right. Do you want one last question, Zane?
Heck yes.
All right. Here it comes. Jared sends in. I have a friend who is claiming to be a reverse werewolf. Instead of turning into a wolf, he says he will turn into the moon. As there is a peak lunar cycle coming up. How do I talk him out of it? Do I call his bluff? I don't know if the tides could handle my friend right now.
Your butt is gonna ruin Earth's gravitational system.
The tides cannot handle my friend right now.
It's just like once a month, Earth is gonna be thrown out of rotation. The thing I want to know is your friend like conscious as the moon, or is he just a moon figure, or is he like conscious that he is a moon?
That's a good question. Are you conscious you're a werewolf?
Yeah, of course.
You are.
Yeah, it's like
every HP series has taught me otherwise, and that they do not remember it, and they're just like, "Whoa, crazy night, huh?"
I think in the sense of you're clearly, if this makes sense, you're conscious within the werewolf, but obviously the memory doesn't stick around because the memory belongs to the werewolf, not the human. But like when you're a moon, are you an object? Or are you a conscious being that will not remember later having been the moon?
Does he turn into the moon, or does he turn into a moon?
Definitely a moon, right? Because
a moon.
Yeah,
there is still moon.
Because keep in mind, your friend.
What if he just becomes another moon, slightly larger, sitting in front of our moon?
Yeah, you need to understand how messed up this situation really is, Will. This isn't a joking matter. Your friend bites like 5 people. We're gonna have 7 moons just sitting around in the sky.
If that moon gets a hold of anybody with its teeth, our existence in total is gone.
Neil Armstrong's up on the moon. He takes one leap. He lands. I think something bit me. What was it? Oh my God!
Moon?
The moon itself. Did you bring back any?
Is the moon living in the first place? Is our real life moon? Not that this isn't real life. Is our moon a living thing in the same way that we have Mother Earth?
Yeah.
Okay.
People don't realize
if we have Mother Earth, what is moon?
Sun moon.
It
can't be sun. It can't be the sun because the sun's the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't be sun.
Daughter moon, daddy moon,
moon daddy.
Sailor moon.
No, because I don't feel like it's. Is it the father because it's distant?
Hell. It's got its distance from Mother Earth, and then it's never around to see the sun.
It's never
unless they
it's only actually present once a month.
Unless they overlap, and then it's like a very drastic scene for Mother Earth.
And everybody's really, really kind of concerned about it, but it doesn't last very long, and then he's gone for a while back again. Okay.
And then Haley's Comet, she went off to college, but she comes around every now and then.
I thought Haley's Comet was the girl that the dad is now with, and that she just comes by every once in a while, and he's like, "Are you willing to accept her now?" And everybody's like, "No, dude." And then he leaves again.
But she's like 10,000 years old. Come on.
Yeah,
guys.
dude, Dad, she's like 10,000 years old. Cut it out. How old is the moon?
Probably at least 10. Older than us, yeah.
At least older than us. Yeah, probably. That
10
sounds good.
in lunar years. You know, a lot of people don't know this, and I'm glad you brought it up when you said, is the moon like a human being, or like a living being like us? Yes.
Moon daddy.
And we can't see it from here. Hugh Moon. Hi, my name's Hugh Moon. We can't see it from here, but if you were to walk to the east, west, and south poles of the moon, you would find very human-sized arms and human legs in those locations.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a middle-aged balding man's head at the top of the moon, and they're on the east and west poles. Not that those exist here, but they do on the moon. You'll find just little wiggly arms, and you'll find just a butt on the bottom.
Yeah.
Just a butt.
They call it the dark side of the moon because they've seen the butt, and it's not pretty, and they don't want people to be like, "Oh,
that one's not human-sized. That one's huge."
that one's moon-sized.
That one's moon-sized.
You got a human arms,
like we
human
saw
legs,
it wasn't great.
Moon-sized butt.
Yeah, we saw the dark side of the moon. It wasn't great.
The question that is now on my mind is, if the moon were to turn around and show us its huge butt, would it be mooning us?
Oh, no. Is it always mooning us? Maybe the whole thing is a big butt.
It's mooning space?
Well, it's mooning us because it's always facing us. I think that's the only explanation for who it's mooning. So maybe it's the dad who, like, kind of cracks at some point in his middle-aged, like, life crisis and then just, like, leaves and just becomes, like, a big child at, like, 45 years old and shows up, like, naked at your doorstep and stuff like that.
you're gonna have to just chain them up and see what happens.
Yeah, I almost didn't want to even mention this because we talked about the moon like 2 episodes ago with werewolves, and
We
the
talked
moon
about
and
the
the
moon
tides.
shoes all the time, though.
We talk about moon. You have to reference moon shoes at least once every episode, so we got that in. Check. All right. I'm gonna make a note in our little Google Doc, and it's just the moon shoes, and there's a little square, and then I check mark it. And it's
Good.
like, oh, good. We can now finish the episode. We can stop recording now.
Good
So I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening.
But yeah, so this is the end of our show, where we want to say thank you to all of our listeners and all of our followers for making this podcast possible. Big thanks again to our question askers and to our parents who birthed us. This has been Save Your Bacon. My name is Will.
My name is Zane.
And guys, take it easy. And if it's easy, take it twice.